Now, this evening we're remembering the actor, the late, great Colin Blakely. What a career he had, but did you know that it actually all started out in Bangor before he headed to London and then, of course, had that great career on TV and in film. He starred in many movies like the Agatha Christie Murder on the Orient Express and Evil Under the Sun, and even appeared in one of the Pink Panther movies as well. So a blue plaque was unveiled recently down in Bangor at Studio 1A, and I was there, and I also caught up with Colin's niece and nephew, Caroline and Stephen. Here's what happened as we unveiled the blue plaque for Colin Blakely. Okay, Caroline, what a fabulous day here in Bangor today on a very special occasion. What does this mean to you to be here today?
It means a huge amount to be here to represent the family and to have the privilege of the plaque being given to Uncle Colin. It's a real honour to be here to represent him.
Oh, brilliant. And what's your memories then of your Uncle Colin?
Well, really one of the great things about Uncle Colin was his presence. It was like he had his own orbit, and everyone who met him certainly wouldn't be forgotten. And he was just so full of warmth, affection, compassion and humour. And he always brought a smile to our face whenever we saw him.
Yeah. What's your memories then?
Love and laughter mainly. He and our father had this amazing bond, and it was just so warm and loving, and the house was always full of laughter when they were together, and that really is such a vivid memory for us both.
Brilliant. Now, when I was looking for some information on him today, searching around the internet and stuff, there's no interviews of him anywhere. Was he a terribly private person?
He was quite private, because it was actually more about the acting and his love of acting, to be honest, than the fame. You know, he was a very unassuming man, and that is, when Stephen talks about his orbit, I think that is what made him incredibly charismatic, because it wasn't about what he'd achieved, he just loved doing what he did.
So we're here today outside Bangor Drama Club, a pretty historic building this, isn't it?
This is actually the first temperance hall in Ireland. So it's very historic, and it has become, over the last 7 or 8 years, we've developed it into Bangor Drama Club Studio 1A Theatre. So this is our home after 88 years.
Wow, okay. And are things still going well in the amateur drama circles these days?
Yeah, of course, COVID has had a big impact on amateur dramatics, but we are now back in the saddle. It's taken people a while to come back, but whenever they have come back to the drama club, and we host all sorts of different things here at Studio 1A, it's been fantastic. So yeah, it's been a difficult few years for everyone in the industry, but people are really enjoying coming back to see live drama again.
Okay, now we're here today to talk about Colin Blakely, that well-known actor. Is getting a blue plaque outside of the studio. So what does that mean to you guys then?
Well, Colin Blakely is one of our most famous sons from Bangor Drama Club. And it's important to us because we're putting up a blue plaque today, and for those young people who come onto our stage and think to themselves, what is the best that I can get out of this? You know, could we dream as far as going to the Royal Shakespeare Company or being in a film in Hollywood? The answer is yes, because the answer's at the front door. On the plaque, Colin Blakely's already done it, and he was a member of our club here in the 1950s. He went on to the Royal Court Theatre and then the Royal Shakespeare Company by 1961, so it is possible.
And I saw some people write nice things about him, like Liam Neeson actually says he was influenced by him.
No, we've seen those articles. Liam Neeson, I think, and I hope I'm not misquoting, Kenneth Branagh was influenced with them, and in fact, some years ago I was speaking to an actor in the industry who's my age, and he found out that I was related to him, and I can't really say on local television what his reaction was, but I didn't think he'd remember him, but he was absolutely amazed. So I think a lot of people, and I think that's the biggest, as an actor, I guess that's the biggest compliment you can receive is from your peers. But he was very modest, as Caroline said. He would never let it go to his head, and I think he would be so happy and proud today, but also probably a little overwhelmed as well, because he was a modest man.
Exactly, and sadly he passed away in 1987, and if he hadn't passed away, he probably would have went on to create more great work, wouldn't he?
Well, I have no doubt that he would. He'd just done Lear, and he played Antony and Cleopatra, and I think there were a couple of things lined up, but sadly taken from us far too young.
What about some of the big movies he did? I mean, when you think of things like Murder on the Orient Express, I mean, that's big Hollywood stuff, isn't it?
No, it is. And to be honest with you, I kind of always think that every Christmas he visits us because he tends to appear in one Agatha Christie movie, either The Orient Express or Evil Under the Sun. So, they're big movies, and he appeared with some very big people as well. It's very, very famous people and very talented people. So, he's really very inspirational, I think, to anybody, given that he went into it without any formal training at all and kept at it, because it's a tough industry.
And of course, in Murder in the Orient Express, it was Albert Finney was playing Poirot in that. He made 3 movies with Albert Finney, so were they good friends?
I think that they were very good friends. I think they might have actually come to Belfast and visited Mum and Dad there, because Mum has a story, I think, about that. Whether or not it's completely true, or whether, it's been embellished a little over the years. But yes, no, he was a good friend of Albert Finney, and he knew the family as well. Yeah.
And of course, 2 movies as well with the legendary director Sidney Lumet, one of them being Murder in the Orient Express and the other being Equus as well.
Yes, exactly. And Equus, which I think is one of those amazing pieces that sort of stands out, and it's been tried to be, it's been done many times since, but I think that was a real marker for Uncle Colin, actually. I know he found it quite demanding as a role, but he thoroughly enjoyed it.
Brilliant. And one of the other things that I discovered as well, quite a controversial Dennis Potter play in the late 1960s where he played the part of Jesus.
He did, yes. I'm going to claim that I was a little bit too young to see that, but it was. I remember there was controversy over it at the time, and I think that the press also reported it. But I think without the kind of parking the controversy of it, I think, and of course I'm biased, I think that everyone thought that his portrayal was very, very good, despite the controversy surrounding the actual piece.
I know he would have been 92 if he was still around today. So any members of the drama club remember anything about him? Do you still have any?
Well, we do have a few members who still remember him, and it's amazing. We're just getting to the end of that time when people are able to remember, and the last people who do remember him are still around. But just yesterday I was talking to a friend's mother, and she was living in Grimsport, and I happened to mention her to her. I said, look, we're doing this for Colin Blakely, and her eyes lit up. She was 98, and she said, I went to school with Colin Blakely. And I said, did you? Said, we used to go into the headmaster's store, the headmaster's room together with some other kids, and we would have lunch with the headmaster. And I always said to Colin, you're either going to end up in jail or on the stage. So, and I just heard this yesterday. So these anecdotes are still about, people still remember. So it's really important that we do this now before all those memories fade.
And it's nice that you are remembering today as well, because a lot of people wouldn't necessarily know that he was originally from Bangor. And when you go online to try and find out things about him, there's not too many interviews with him either out there.
No, I think it's just that time before, it was famous to be famous.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to be a celebrity. He was very much a working actor, very much celebrated within the organisations, on Stage magazine itself. So. He was an actor's actor, and way before all the social media brought people to want to be famous,
Talk about the vet one. That was a part then that Robert Hardy would take on in the TV series. So he played the original part.
Yes, he did. He did. And there's a rather lovely story about that, which I think Stephen's going to touch on later on. So I won't steal his thunder.
Well, I'd love to hear the story. Tell us.
Well, very, very quickly, there was a scene, and Uncle Colin was many things, but he probably wasn't the tallest man in the world. And there was a scene where the dog has to chase Uncle Colin, and unfortunately it had to be reshot several times because the dog not only kept catching up with him but actually overtaking him. So he was trying to pedal very quickly to ensure that the dog never actually caught him, which was the point of the scene. But yeah, it was. I think he loved making it as well. He really, really did. And I know that his widow, Auntie Maggie, and the boys, John and Cameron and Hamish, are so sorry not to be here, and they send their love and their thanks to everyone who's made today possible, because it has been really, really wonderful.
Oh, what a great story to finish on, and again, great for me to be here today to share with your family in this very special day. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed. It's been a pleasure.